It's really, really easy to come up with 1,500 words, a day.
Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat. In today's episode, we talked to Janine. Met her through our good friends over at Finding Arizona, and she's in the process of publishing her third book, starting her own publishing company, and just recently started her own tea company. Let's see what she's up to and dive right in. If you can come in is just that Instagram post of the writer's block, and I mean just anyone that's writing a story or anyone that's just writing a book in general, I think is a huge step. But you mentioned you're on your third one, and so it's like just everything you're doing, and it's awesome. And so really just want to hear more of what you're doing. You mentioned that you have a corporate job, you're investing in yourself on other things, and so you've had podcasting in your mind. Just really want to hear what all are you doing? What you got the corporate job. What is your goal in the next 5-10 years? And just tell a little bit more about you.
I do have the corporate job. I've been there 3 years. I'm an HR manager, and I love it because I love people and connecting with people. And if there's a problem, I get to fix it. So I love that part, but it's not my passion in life. So on the side, I am an author and a speaker, and then I also own a tea company as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm a mom, so I'm pretty busy. I'm like always doing something.
It's full.
Yeah, my plate is really full. And I'm working on my third book, and I was just really frustrated when I did that post on writer's block because I was really stuck. I got to a point where I was like, what am I doing? Why are you, when you get all that self-doubt, why are you even writing this? Nobody's going to like it. You start to really, really get in your own head, and I couldn't write for like 4 or 5 days.
Really?
So I was going through that, but I would say the next 3 to 5 years, I plan to leave corporate America and do this full time. So right now I'm just in a transition of like getting rid of all the old and starting new and changing and actually implementing like the lessons, or I guess creating new habits that people have been trying to show me for the past 5 years. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm like, okay, I need to do that if I want to be successful. So I'm just in a change cycle, I guess, right now. Yeah.
It's funny you mention that because it's one word that I used to hate so much is the word process. And it's like, I don't know, it's not a fun word. And I think that's why, but it's like, even as like I mentioned, we're a year old, and there's been a lot of learning process, but it's becoming apparent that without it, it's tough to grow and really just put things in motion to help you get to the next step. The learning, it's definitely there. What are your books about?
So my first book is called Through My Eyes, and it's poetry and short stories. It's poetry that I started writing since I was 9 till about 26. So that I talk about everything: love, breakup, family, just everything. My second book is a children's book. It's called Feathers in the Sky, and it's a story about a little girl that sees feathers everywhere she goes, and they mean something different. So it's teaches kids about their intuition and following like their gut feeling. So it's more of a motivational book for kids. And then my third book, I'm still working on it, and it's a motivational, like I would say self-help motivation / business book for adults. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. I mean, the kids and then the adult side, I mean, a little bit of everything. So what made you want to write? Have you always loved writing?
I've always known I was going to be a writer. When I was little, I used to tell my parents I'm going to be a published writer and I'm going to own my own publishing company. I would always tell them that. And as I got older, I was like, I just kept telling them this is what I'm going to do. So they started to help me like research, but we didn't know what we were doing. This was like back 15, 20 years. And then as I got older, I just found mentors and people that were already doing it, and that's kind of how I got started. I also sometimes I call publishing companies, big publishing companies. I just ask questions. Like,
really?
Yeah, like as if I'm shopping around, and I just ask questions, and that's how I learn. But I always knew I didn't want to go through a traditional publishing company because you're then in a contract and they pretty much control everything that you do. So I never wanted that. I always wanted to do it myself, and so that's what I'm working on creating. Yeah,
I love it. I mean, just the today's world, it takes, I mean, they're basically a middleman. Essentially, they have the audience, they can get you out to the audience. I mean, same thing with music, the music industry. You have labels, and it's like I feel like they just take so much from the person that's creating, and so that is a big downfall, you would say. So are you trying to do anything to kind of differentiate yourself from other publishers? Are you still wanting to become like a publisher, or is it self-publish is what you're wanting to do?
So right now I'm self-publishing myself, but I do coaching for other authors because there's a lot of people that don't know how to publish books. So I help them or kind of guide them in the right direction. I do have a publishing company. It's a process. Like, when I look at some, famous entrepreneurs, it takes them years. It could be 30 years before they're really successful. So I'm like really at the beginning stages still. I've only been in business 4 years, so it's a work in progress.
It's building. It's not done overnight. It's funny. There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Everything changes. I feel like everything changes every year, just with social media, with marketing, with advertising. Like, there's so many. It's just advancing so quickly, so you have to be on top of your game at all times. So, but yeah, I want to continue publishing myself, but then helping others publish their books.
So, are you gonna try and create a different type of model than what the traditional, I guess, publisher would be?
I think for me, it's to teach entrepreneurs how to publish their book. And that's where I'm transitioning to now, is I'm starting to create workshops, and we'll eventually have online webinars on how to do that. It's a niche that isn't like some people are like writing books, but not a lot of people are into that.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that's a huge feat to be able to sit down and get all your thoughts on to paper and be able to write something. I think that's huge. And even then, like, has it led to any other opportunities outside of, I mean, just selling the book, but I mean, do you ever use it? Because I have a couple buddies that have written a book, and it's used to kind of help network themselves. Do you use it in that kind of way at all?
Yeah, there have been times where I've just donated the book because it helps. It's like a marketing material. It is a marketing material, honestly. So yeah, I have, or I've donated to organizations or schools. And I would say for me, last year I was on News Channel 3. That was huge. Yeah, that was huge. And honestly, it was just me reaching out to all the news anchors and saying, this is what I'm doing. And then one of them said, yes, come on. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Not just sitting around waiting for the opportunity.
I'm out there looking for it. Yeah. So that was super dope. But yeah, I do use it as that's how I market myself.
That's such a differentiator. I mean, that's cool. So what is it like to get that whole process started? Because it's like, I mean, I want to get into the public speaking as well, but there's a lot of different tools that can help you differentiate yourself, and that's kind of why we got the podcast going. But getting a book going is something that, I mean, it would be cool to eventually start. There's a lot of building that comes before that, but would love to eventually get down there. And so what is the process like to start?
To start, I would say having a plan, like just outline what it is that you want to even talk about or write about. That's the best advice I can give. If you know that you want to write about, I don't know, podcasting, let's say, create your outline. What kind of chapters would you have? And within those chapters, find three, like kind of like mind mapping, find 3 things that you're going to talk about within those chapters. That makes it so much easier when you're writing. Also, a tip that I do is sometimes when I have long drives, I use the voice memo on my phone. And so I just like, when I get into those deep thoughts where I don't have physically time to sit down and type, I will do a voice memo and I'll save it for later. So just little things like that. That's kind of how you get started. And honestly, it's just writing. Just, yeah, for me, I set a goal, because without a goal, I procrastinate. I'm a very big procrastinator. So for me, I set a goal. I tell myself about 1,500 words a day. And I know it sounds like a lot, but when you're driving a half hour and you're just in your thoughts and you're doing a voice memo, it's really, really easy to come up with 1,500 words, a day. Yep. And then copyright, you have to get it copyrighted. There's a lot that goes into that as well. Is there
an agency or someone that you go out for that? Because it's like, I feel like I can get ideas onto paper, but to actually make it readable in a good, concise manner and all that, is that...
Yeah, I do the best that I can, but no, you always need an editor. They're just someone that is proficient in the English grammar, and that's not me. So my job is to just write the book, and then I have somebody go in and tell me, okay, this needs to be fixed, or maybe you should move this. But yeah, definitely hire an editor to help you with that before you send it to copyright. And then after that, it's just like logistics, like, the barcoding and, front cover of the book, getting it printed, ebooks and all of that stuff, audios. So
whenever you do the voice memo, do you go back, just listen and then retype it out, or?
So on the iPhone, if you do it through Notes, if you go into a new note and you click on the little microphone, it'll type it for you.
That's sweet.
So it does a lot of errors, honestly. So you have to go in and you really have to proofread it afterwards. But yeah, you just talk and it types it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
There's something that we use called Temi. You might want to look into it. It's so basically the same thing. It can take the voice and then transcribe it, but it's super awesome in terms of accuracy. So, and it's only I want to say it's 10 cents a minute or something like that. So I don't know how, I know that Apple, anytime I do, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's like, wow, you did it so well. And then it's like, the next time it's like, wow, that's horrible.
I agree. I've also heard some authors use Fiverr, they get people on there that can transcribe. I haven't done that yet. Maybe one day, I don't know. I'll try it.
So you mentioned speaking, is that any different than going about getting a book into market? And where I'm going with that is how you just kind of organize your thoughts and everything like that, because that is more so of what I want to try and do more. It's a big goal is to do more speaking, going out, talk more just digital marketing, podcasting, whatever it is. But I like more of just showing up and just talking, but it can get tough. If you're just keeping your thoughts organized. It
is. I guess you do need, it depends on the speaker too. For me, I need a process. So I need a beginner, a middle, and an end. That's just how my mind works. And I need to be prepared. I can't just show up somewhere and just talk. I need to I like to use visuals too. So sometimes I have either a PowerPoint, I show a video, and or I'll have a photo and then I talk about it. But I guess it depends on what kind of speaker you are.
Yeah. What have you done? Yeah. Speaking on?
So I've done speaking on, I like different Zen topics like happiness, joy, love, gratitude, things like that. But like I said, I'm shifting. So now I'm going to be doing pretty much book publishing 101. I just want to teach people how to do that.
Gotcha. So whenever you mention next 3 years, you want to leave corporate America and do this. Is that what this is? Is basically just, how to publish a book. It's helping get it started. Do you help people with the actual idea, or is it more once you have the idea, laying out the blueprint?
Yeah, I can. I'm helping someone right now that has the idea. They needed help with their titles and their chapters and all of that stuff, and just kind of brainstorming. So I kind of walk them through it, but at the end of the day, they write it. Yeah.
Why do you like it so much?
I don't know. I was born, I knew I was going to be an author. I just have always known this. When you're young too, and you're just I want to be a firefighter. And then your whole life you go and you do other things. You're a football player, you're this, you're that. And then when you finally grow up, you're like, I want to be a firefighter. That's kind of how it was for me. I just knew, and I did everything else that I wasn't passionate about until I finally woke up one day and I was like, that's what I've always wanted to do.
That's
cool. Do it. Yeah.
So what is your timeline on leaving corporate America? What are you doing to make it happen?
I would say for me, realistically, I would say 1.5 to 2 years. And that's just me being realistic. what I'm doing right now is I have a speaking coach who's helping me. I also have a book publishing. He's a book publisher and a speaker, so he helps me with both. I have a mentor that helps me both career-wise and professionally. And then I also have a financial advisor who's helping me as well, just manage my finances personally and with my business. Because what I was doing before is, I want to leave corporate America. I would always talk about it, but I didn't have a plan. And once I sat down and I finally told myself, okay, I need X, Y, and Z money to even leave corporate America. I need to have this much saved. And then this is how much I need to be making each month. So how many products do I need to sell? So it was like a lot of, like mathematic equations and like really just sitting down and like creating a plan. And so I created a plan and I'm like, okay, I should be debt free by March of next year. So by then I should be able to start really planning, what it is that I'm going to do and not tack on more debt.
Good debt though. I mean, it's reinvesting. It's not debt to buy things. It's debt to reinvest, which will then provide your ROI down the road. What's been the hardest struggle trying to get all this going? I mean, it sounds like a lot to get a book. I mean, there's a lot to do. So I guess what's been the hardest thing to try and do it for other people?
I guess I move differently, I guess you can say. Like I wake up every single day, even though I got to work every day, I will go home and work more. And I'll be up in the middle of the night and I'll do whatever it takes to get it done. And some people don't necessarily do that or don't have the drive. And so they expect the same results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll say, you're doing X, Y, and Z, and you look like you're successful. So they think that it's just easy, but it's not. It's like a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? And I tell people, I'm like, you have to go out there yourself and sell yourself. And you have to go out there and find interviews and find, like for me, like when I was on the news, I had to contact maybe 50 news anchors. Like I was just messaging everybody.
How did you go about that?
Honestly, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't sleep. So I was on Instagram DMing one after the other, and then just following all of their accounts, tagging them on my stuff. And then I finally, out of like 50, I had one person. So it's just having that drive of like, you're going to be having sleepless nights and you have to really put yourself out there. I'm an introvert. I like to be by myself.
So that's tough then.
So yeah, but I know that I have to put myself out there. And so I think that's the hardest part, is that some people don't have that drive and they expect it to have the same results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See it all the time. I mean, it's especially time when people are just starting out and it's like, to your point, it's, oh wow, it looks like you're growing and all that. And it's like, yeah, we are, but you don't see the waking up at 4 to 8 in the morning, the 5 hours that have already been put in by the time you're getting to work. And it's tough. It's tough because I want it, but it's like, you say you do, but you're not putting in the work to your actions aren't doing what.
Yeah. The behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. Like, and actually when you responded to my post, I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
And I was like, this guy, he's an entrepreneur. You know why? Because I wake up at 4 just to get my day started, just to get my routine and just get going. And a lot of people will sleep in and
well, I mean, once the day gets going, it's just, there's so many distractions, and it's like you could have 4 solid hours of no text, no emails, no nothing coming in because everyone's still asleep. And so like that's that one, when I started getting up at 4 and then coming in here at like 5 or whatever, but that's when we really started, getting more done and seeing the growth quicker because you just have more time to focus on stuff. And I just been listening to a podcast recently where they talk big on find the 3 things that like are going to get you to the next level. And those are the things that you do early in the morning, just get them done, the things you hate doing. And it's amazing how much more you can get done whenever you just get up a couple extra hours early and then you don't have all the noise and everything coming in.
Mm-hmm. It's so true.
How have you gotten past the being an introvert? Because that with all of this, camera, people are saying produce more content, but it's tough if you're not wanting to, you know what I mean, get in front of cameras and stuff. So are there any things that you do other than, I mean, just knowing that it's just what has to be done?
I just know that it's what has to be done, but then I take a lot of alone time for myself, and waking up early too. That's when I have time for me. Like I go to the gym and I meditate and I read, and that's like my solid 2 hours of just me time. And I need that every day in order for me to be like operating at 100% throughout the day. And then at night, like if I don't have a networking event or anything else that I'm doing, then I'm at home, but I'm like happy.
I have no one talking to me.
Yeah, but I do push myself. Like I would say 5 years ago, you wouldn't catch me at any networking events, but now I've just learned that I just have to go out there and I have to talk to people and I have to smile, and, and I have to, do all that stuff. So I know that I need to do it.
Yeah. How do you approach the networking events like that? I mean, just when you're there, that's something I'm trying to get out more and do more of, but I don't know. I always feel like I'm interrupting. I know that's the whole point is walk up and just talk, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to seem like I'm selling. Like, I don't know. I've only been to a few, but it's tough for me to walk up and just say, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you go about it? Do you have a good icebreaker that you use?
No, but you're right. When you go up, you're just like, oh, I'm going to interrupt the conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just, hey, I'm Janine.
Just do it.
And then I don't tell them what I'm doing. I ask them what they're doing. Like, what is it that you do? And then I let them talk about them. And then they eventually ask what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think
it is a little awkward sometimes.
Yeah, and I think just because we're B2B, so it's like, I feel like some people if it's B2C, like two people selling to consumers, they're not trying to sell each other. They're where it's like, I only work with businesses, so I feel like it's like, oh, well, you're just here to try and, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And that's why we got the podcast. I don't like to go out and sell. Like, I like to just, I don't know, show value and then let it come. And so that's...
Well, I never sell. Yeah, when I go to networking events, I never really sell. I just kind of share with them what it is that I'm doing. I don't even I try not to give my business card. I usually say, are you on LinkedIn or Instagram? And then when people follow me on Instagram, then they're like, oh, like, let's connect. And then that builds like a whole other, another follow-up meeting. But that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. What are your thoughts on just business cards in general? I feel like LinkedIn and Instagram is the new business card. Like, why?
Instagram is my business. Like, you just go on there and it just speaks for itself.
You're not going to lose it. You can't misplace it. But
I do ask for people's business cards because I want either their email, contact information, or whatever. But I usually have business cards with me, but I usually try to tell them to go to Instagram.
Yeah. Cool. You mentioned that it's tough to stay on top of marketing trends. Everything's changing constantly. What are you doing from a marketing perspective?
Good question. That's not my area of expertise at all. Luckily, I have my best friend is really good at that. And so I'm always learning from her. And I just not that I try and copy, but I just duplicate. And I'm asking her, what should I do? And so she gives me, all of her new updates or whatever it is that she's doing, which is really awesome. Sometimes I try to do it myself, and then I'm like, I can't do it. Can you just do it and I'll pay you? But it's not my area of expertise, and I know that at some point I have to outsource it because it doesn't help me focus on my one thing, which is books.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're good at bringing in help whenever you've identified something that you might not be strong at. A financial coach, a mentor, all that. Yeah. You can get investing in yourself. Because I asked because, you mentioned it might be 2 years before you made that transition. So what is it that you're marketing right now?
So right now it's a little tough because I have the two businesses. Well, I have the book publishing and then my tea. And so with the tea, it's just constantly on Instagram and Facebook, posting updates on, the tea or people drinking it or testimonials. And I do a lot of my marketing through podcasts. So people are always inviting me to do podcasts. And so that's a great way to get myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
have you thought about starting your own?
Yeah. In a couple years. In a couple of years, I have some good ideas, but it would be too much to add to my plate right now. But I definitely want to. And I've thought about having it like once a week, like maybe either on a Wednesday or Thursday type of deal where people just know Wednesdays it's Janine's podcast day and they're going to tune in. And so, I have a bunch of ideas. I just need to get there.
How does the whole process work whenever you're in the car talking, like coming up with the book? Is it literally everything you say are the words, or do you ever stumble? Do you ever like, dang it, I wish I wouldn't have said that? And where I'm kind of going with that is like, if you're already talking into something, like you can kind of make that like the behind the scenes podcast of the creation of the book or something like that. And you're not taking additional time to produce it. You're just kind of documenting the creation of your book, and you can kind of use that as an advertisement tool for the book itself.
Good idea. I do stumble. I get stuck sometimes, or I'm just like, what was I going to say? So I don't know. I can always edit it, but that's actually a good idea.
I think that it's good to have the stumbles, the this and all that, because one, you can use it to push the book, but two, you could use it to push the publishing service and be like, hey, look, I'm doing it for myself and I struggle. Like you're not alone, and you can use it to help break the barrier down and have people like, okay, yeah, you are like, you know what I mean? You are like me and want to reach out. And so you're kind of giving the behind the scenes. You can use it to help push the book, but also push the publishing as well. And you're not taking any extra time to produce it. And people love POVs. People love the just behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I think it would do well. And if anything, it just at least gives you practice on doing it. If you don't like any of them,
I should test it out.
I think you should.
I should.
I mean, if you're already recording, it's like, do it. Yeah. So does it just translate? Does Apple just translate the voice to text, or does it actually?
Yeah, voice to text. But I know.
I wonder if you can do the voice memo and the note at the same time.
I don't know. I'd have to do some research. I know some people use Zoom for podcasts.
Yeah, we'll do that with people that are outside of Phoenix. Haven't done as many just because this is just better, just having someone here, and yeah, the quality is a little bit better at that, and we're just trying to really focus on Arizona. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of tools that you could do or you could use that, like, if you're already doing something, especially if you're saying it out loud, just record it. Like, you don't need to take extra time to do it. And like something that we're finding a lot and helping people out with or just tossing around the ideas is workshops, stuff that you're already doing. If you're already up there talking, throw on a lapel and then record it, and then there's your whole podcast.
I've seen people do that where they have like a live seminar and then they created it into a webinar. And how did you do that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're
multitasking.
You're being efficient. Super efficient. Yeah, that's what it is. You're being efficient with the content. Because then once it's done, then you can cut it up into a bunch of different things and then use it. Like if throughout the whole thing, if the whole thing's about Facebook marketing, but you say one really good thing on how to do video production, you can take that out. Now you have a video production piece and you didn't even speak about it. And there's a lot that you can do creative wise, dissecting stuff that you're already producing. And if you're already doing the workshops, I think that there's tons of opportunity. How often do you do them?
Well, I have one next month, August. It's going to be women only. But it just depends on what I get booked for. So not right now, I haven't been doing much because I'm trying to rebrand everything and change everything. So I haven't really put myself out there to get booked. So.
I want to touch on the rebranding, but on the workshop stuff. So are you running your own, or are you being asked to be part of quite a few? Sometimes
I get asked, but right now I want to focus on me creating my own and me moving forward all my own. Yeah.
The rebranding, I want to get onto that. What is that process been like? And to preface, we went through just a little name change very early on, like before even really, I mean, before this was even a thing, and that was difficult in and of itself, just changing emails, changing look and feel. And so how has that whole process been?
I think for me it was I knew that I had to do it like 3 years ago, and I chose not to because I was lazy, honestly. And the more as time passed by, it just kept bugging me. And the more that I would talk to different mentors, or sometimes I like to meet with successful business owners and just ask them questions. And all of them told me the same thing, that I need to focus on one thing. And I was focusing on too many different things. And the way that I was branded was not a reflection of what I was trying to do. And so it just took, I guess, me telling myself, you just have to do this. And I really became clear on the one thing that I was trying to do, which was book publishing, or teaching aspiring authors how to publish. And then I just did it. I had to rechange my whole website, the name, the emails, closing old emails. It's new business cards, new marketing material. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I have one website. I still need to create another. I create them myself too. So that's like another thing. It's like, it just takes a lot of time. So that's why I say I'm in the process of rebranding, because then I have to also shift my Instagram, and how I do everything on Instagram has to be different. And so it's a process.
What made you have the realization that you needed to change it? Was it through the interviewing people? It sounds like that was what got you from thought to I need to do it. At what point, what was the thing that made you say, you know what, I think I need to rebrand?
Once you hear it so often from so many successful people, if you don't listen, you're stupid, right? And I'm like, Janine, if you don't do this, you're going to continue in the same cycle. I'll be treading water and treading water and treading water and not getting results. Yeah. So that's kind of how it happened for me. I went and I've met with so many successful people, but one of them in particular, he was like, Janine, you just need to focus on one thing. And he's like, that's what he said, you wear too many hats. He's like, you can't be the master. Oh no, what did he say? You can't be the jack of all trades and the master of none. And I was like, dang. And I was like, you're right. It did. And so I think just hearing that over and over and over, you have to eventually be coachable and listen.
Yeah. Was it, so I mean, did you have the feeling, or was there something that someone said that made you think you needed to rebrand? Because like I said, it sounds like you had the thought before you even started talking to successful businesses or business owners. So what was the thought or the feeling that kind of you had before you even started talking to the business owners?
I was about to, like I said, I have my tea company, and I love my tea company. However, my when I wake up in the morning, my thing is books. That's just what I'm passionate about. I light up and when I talk about it. And that's what he told me. He's like, Janine, when you wake up in the morning, what is the one thing that you just can't think of anything else? And I was like, books. He's like, okay, so why are you over here focusing on this? And he's like, and why is your Instagram reflecting this? And why? He just kind of broke it down for me. And I was like, oh. So I think it was just having somebody sit with me and just, maybe, because I had heard it so often that I was just like, whatever, you just kind of make mistakes as you go. But I think once he broke it down for me, and he was like, let's sit and talk about this. And he's like, why? Why and why? And I'm like, I don't know. So then I was like, let's change this. Let's create something different. So
did you guys sit down and literally everything you said was the why? And where I'm going with that is I've seen a couple times recently where I don't know if they sat down with someone here in Phoenix, but basically they went through that thing, and that's to figure out their brand identity. And it's like, when you wake up, what is your favorite thing? Why? And then they answer why. Is that kind of the process that you took to?
Yeah, and then also having my speaker and author coach, he helped me as well. He pretty much did a session with me for 2 hours where I just talked about myself, my life, what I'm into, my passion. And he created a business plan for me. And he's like, these are the top 3 areas of interest for you. And it was cool to have somebody from the outside do it, cool. And then he helped me really pinpoint that one thing. And then once I figured that out, which I always knew, it was always books, it's just crazy. I'm like, I always knew that. Once I figured that out, then it was easier. It was like, okay, now I have to take action, because I have all of the resources and all the information in front of me. If I don't do something different, I'm going to continue to have the same results, and I'll still be at corporate America. So
it's doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Just takes that perspective. The tea thing, how did that start?
I love tea. That's just it. I love it. I drink it every day. I've always been obsessed with tea. And I always wanted to have, I've always pictured people drinking tea while they read their book on the couch with like, you know, their blanket.
Right?
Yeah, like it's an experience kind of thing. So I started my tea company actually in 2017, but I didn't launch it till May of this year. And each of my tea represents something different. Like I mentioned before, love, joy, gratitude, empathy, manifestation, things like that. So it's very soothing, calming, and just something that you can drink while you read your book.
So did you come up with, and I don't know if it's a recipe or what. So is it your own line, or are you distributing another?
I'm distributing. So I found I have a distributor, and then they helped me find different companies. I tea tasted, and then pinpointed which one I wanted to go with. And then it's super cool because I don't have the manpower either to do it at my home, but they do everything, the distributor.
Oh, really?
They package, they deliver everything. I just have to sell.
You just get to sell?
Yeah.
How are you selling?
It's going pretty good, but like I said, my main focus right now is the book, so it's a little difficult to manage both.
Are you winding the tea thing down, or are you gonna?
I'm torn.
Tough?
I'm really torn because it's my brand and it's my philosophy behind it. Mm-hmm. And the philosophy behind it is a cup of joy. It's just when you drink it, you just feel joy and you're happy. And I've thought of selling it, but I can't see myself doing that, so I kind of just waiting it out.
Is it I know you just launched this, so is it profitable? I mean, is it something that maybe you could outsource a few things to then fuel sales, which then fund everything else?
I definitely think I would need an investor at some point. I can see this tea being huge, honestly. It's just I don't have the manpower to make it a household name. You know what I mean? So I'm like teeter-tottering right now between do I go full force with this and kind of put this on the back burner? Do I do both at the same time and not get results? Or do I make this very successful and then just make this successful in a couple of years once I have, employees and I can actually hire people? It's a lot.
For the tea, do you have, a full functioning website, e-commerce, everything?
Yep.
How's the price? Is it pretty comparable to like?
Yeah, but they're more for like boutiques, spas, things like that. I wouldn't sell it in a supermarket. It's very branded.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. The wheels are turning because they're just e-commerce. That's it's fun because you can look at ROI and it's not like where it's not a transaction that happens online, so it's tough to see we invested this much, made this, whatever it may be. But if you're open to it, maybe we could help with just a little branded video. But and I don't know if you have anything to invest into it, but like Google Shopping ads where basically take in the keywords, what type of tea, anything like that. But when someone types in that tea, have you show up number one, it'd be a picture, an image of the product, show the pricing, and it's e-commerce marketing, but it'd be cool if, it sounds like everything's already there. Logistically, you don't have to do much. And if you can do a sweet video that talks about you and how, basically a branded video. Why should someone buy the tea? Introduce yourself, why it means something to you, explain the different lines and all that. And if it's something that just with a quick video, get a campaign up and running, and if it's something that can provide ROI, all of a sudden you just crank it up, and then you don't need funding. Like you can invest $100, and that $100, if you see a 2x ROI, cool, let's maybe throw 200 and let's make 400, and then you can kind of organically grow it. And I say organic because just you're not using funding. Yeah.
Everything else is already created.
Yeah, because there's, what you could do is literally if it's a certain type of tea, or if there's a competitor tea out there, what you can do is take people that are searching for it, then hit them on YouTube with this branded video, take the people that watch all of the video, and then hit them with the shopping ads whenever they do a search. So you show them number one, now they've been exposed to your brand, literally 2 cents to have someone watch a full video. It's insane. Like YouTube is so cheap. It's crazy. like, you know, those ads that you can skip in 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. If someone skips it, you're not charged anything. The only time you're charged is someone watches 30 seconds or more of the video. And even then, it's like 2 or 3 cents. And so I think if everything's all set up there, like I think that we could help you make a sweet video, get a campaign set up. I mean, you could test the waters, and who knows if it produces something, then it could be a revenue driver to help with the publishing. And even then, it's like, if you can grow it big enough, it might be the thing that can help you leave corporate in
we'll have to
3 to 6 months.
My wheels are like, good idea.
Yeah, and then even for us, I mean, it would help. I mean, if it would help us document it or something like that, and just. Yeah, I mean, we could do a podcast on it, the whole strategy, and we have a whole different segment that is just nothing but strategy. And like, essentially, that's what we do is here's the proposed strategy, how we do it, and get more into the tactical side of things rather than high level. But I think if it's already set up, the site's there, I think you're sitting on something that could be huge, because it
can be,
especially it's e-commerce, because you're not packaging everything up, you're not shipping it, it's all done for you. I'm sure the margins aren't as good, but it's not as time intensive. So
I agree.
I would love to see the website.
Yeah, I can show it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's look at it.
Hold up.
What is it? Do they build the site for you?
No, I did that.
Really? What do you build on?
I use Wix right now.
Nice.
Let's see.
Have you been pushing it much at all?
I was, but now that I'm in transition and writing my book, I had to stop everything else I was doing.
Oh, yeah. Dang, you built this?
Yep.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
There's that Finding Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a subscription package or model?
No, I'm working on that. Like a monthly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets that recurring revenue, and then you don't have to wait on them to purchase.
Yeah, and actually the distributor has... I need to contact them. We had talked about it quite a few times, where they would just create it and then ship. Yeah. So that's where the bread and butter is, because I mean, getting the one-time purchases, that's great, but then you got to rely on them coming back, and I mean, most of the time it might be a couple times a year or whatever it may be. But if you get on the monthly subscription, we all know how quickly we don't cancel those, so it's that'd be good recurring revenue. But yeah, I mean, if you're open to it, I think we could help do something from a content production standpoint, and then even help you launch a campaign if it's something that. Yeah, I definitely am interested in learning more, because I don't know. That's like not my area of expertise.
And even then, with the Instagram shopping ads now, where you can tap on the image and then the product comes up. I mean, there's a lot we could do to leverage the 1 or 2 branded videos, and then just target people that watch the whole thing. And it's like, hey, you had a chance to skip it. Obviously, you didn't. You're interested. Now it's how do we get that sale? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you ever have the time, we could set up another time to chat, and then we could talk through the whole logistics, what it would look like, and everything like that.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, as we kind of wrap up, I don't want to take too much of your time, but from a marketing perspective, what's anything that's been holding you back, or something that's just top of mind? Anything from a marketing standpoint?
I think it's not knowing, honestly, and that it moves so quickly.
Is it just everything in general, or is it tactical, like what hashtags to use, or is it just? I'm learning as I go, but I think it is just everything in general. It's just not where I thrive, and so I know that I need to hire someone to do it. It's like accounting. Like, I hate accounting. That was one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, I have to learn how to do that as an entrepreneur. Yeah, you do, because you can't afford to hire someone at the beginning. So for me, with marketing, that's like the number one thing, is that I just don't know. But I think if I put myself out there and really try to understand it more, I might have better results. Well, if you invest more time, you're gonna learn it. But do you want to invest your time into that and all? It's all that stuff. Yeah. What would be? What would help? Because I mean, this is something that, would it be something like a workshop, like what you did with Finding Arizona? Would it? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, what you just said is the comment. Like, where do I don't. It changes so much. I don't know where to start, and so I'm trying to figure out what if there's either a one-sheeter or a workshop, something that can be done to kind of help, I guess, grasp more of it.
I think definitely a workshop, or maybe reoccurring ones like every quarter, where it's like new updates and kind of, for
Your brain on that?
for the people like me that don't know what's going on most of the time. Yeah, because if I do, like, for example, if I go to a class in January, by the time March comes, something new, or it might be different, or I might have forgotten already. So maybe like quarterly check.
I mean, that's what we've been kind of tossing around, and that's pretty much the whole premise why we started all of this, was the tactical part and just trying to get information out there and just help people with the knowledge. Because it's funny you mentioned you would have paid for the Finding Arizona, the podcast thing, and it's like a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we could probably package up and sell it, but it's, I don't know, to me, it's why not give it away? Because the people that are going to take it, run with it, and probably wouldn't come to you anyways, but my mind is, at least we're giving people the keys to try it. And if you try it and figure out that, hey, this isn't my forte, this isn't what I want to do, then you come to us. And so really just trying to figure out how to give more of our content out. I mean, either for free, that would be, even free workshops would be. Or
maybe even free workshops, or at the end, like, you give them most of it for free, but if they want X, Y, and Z, they need to upgrade to a paid package,
That's a good idea.
That's kind of how I see it with a lot of like speakers, or they'll do like a free event, but then at the end, I'll give you an example. Like, I didn't know, there's one thing in particular that I need to do that I don't know how to do, and it's I've been on a bunch of podcasts, and I want to start showing them on my Instagram with like that sound wave thing. I don't know how to do that. And so I like reached out to Jose. I'm like, how do I do this? And he's like, you need a specific thing, or there's like apps. And I would have paid him for that, because I didn't know, like if he would have been like, well, I charge, for half-hour consultation, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, how much? Because I don't know this information, and I'm very serious about my success in my business. But some people do look for free. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people look for free. I mean, you get what you pay for most of the time. But no, you had the wheels turning, because even then it's like, I don't know. To me, if you can prolong the getting paid part, it just brings that value much more. Like, so basically where I'm going with it is, like, it'd be cool to do a free workshop, and even then say, hey, if you have more questions, let's set up some time to come on a podcast, and not even charge, get on a podcast, and then we chop it up or whatever, but then we get content that can go back out there, and then even then, as we talk strategy, then it's like, all right, well, now you actually understand what we could do and all that. I mean, it can almost be used for like lead generation type. I'd love to pick your brain a bit more on that end, because that's something we'd love to do is put something on, an event, something, just get out there, get the first one done, but eventually would love to, quarterly, we'll shoot for once a year, but I think after we do it once, I think it's just gonna be a ton of fun, because it's...
Yeah, once you build, like, you have a process, and your content, like, it'll be easy,
Process.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just creating the process, and then once you do that, it'll be so easy when you do your...
Just replicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just create a model around it then. Yeah, because it's, like I said, it's something we want to do more. Get out there, just pass knowledge on, and would love to pick your brain on how to do that. I think the logistics part is where I think need a ton of help on. Yeah. Definitely. It's more like just event marketing, the logistics side of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, do you have any questions for me at this point?
I don't think I have any, but I definitely, like I said, even the sound wave thing, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Somebody help me. So I have a lot to pick your brain on as well.
Well, we've done a few of those, so can send over how-tos on how to do that, or even help you with it. But what I would love to do is, once you get going, is maybe see if we can set up some more time, and if it's something that you'd want to move forward with, is see what we can do to help you drive sales on the T thing. And I think it'd make for a good case study for us. Once we can map it out, if you get it up and going, start seeing sales and everything, it'd be cool for us to talk about. And then for you, I mean, obviously it'd put money in your pocket. So that'd be
I
sweet.
definitely also, with transitioning with my books, I definitely want to create something that the same model that you said, but with the books. Yeah. Not selling them, but selling my coaching plans or selling my webinars. And so creating a video and then, all of that stuff.
Yeah, because we'd love to hear your process on the creating the books. I think there's a lot that you could do just documenting the process that you could use and leverage to just bring more value to the consulting side of things. It gives, kind of what we use this for too is to help make the sales process more efficient, because it's like, how many times are you going to sit down and explain what you do when you can just be like, hey, consume it on your own time. Here's an episode, blah, blah, that gives an inside look at how. So then it allows people to consume on their own time. And there's only so much time in the day. And if you're meeting 8 hours a day explaining what you do, I think there's something to document it, and then you can hand it out and then position it as, time is precious. I want you to consume on your own, and I want you to have more than just an hour. Like, I can't show you all the value I can bring within an hour. So here's 20 episodes of da-da-da. And so whenever the phone does ring, then all of a sudden it's not, hey, what do you do? It's, I loved what you said over here, da-da-da. I'm stuck on it. I need help with that. So all of a sudden you're freeing up your time, not having to explain yourself over and over. And then it's a cool, like you said, it's cool to give out a book and say you've done it. It's cool to just, here's my podcast as well. And it's just a whole nother content piece that's
why I want to do podcasts one day.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Because I think you're already doing things that all you'd have to do is just maybe throw in a mic and you got it. Like, I think you're already doing a lot that you don't need to take extra time to produce something. And I think you can get a podcast going a lot sooner than you think.
Seriously, sometimes I'm like cooking dinner and I'm doing the voice memo for my book. And my son's like, what are you doing? I'm like writing my book. I was like, and I'm like cooking at the same time. I'm like, but just multitasking.
Yeah. There's just throw something in that just records it, and it's like, if it's not good, you can delete it. But if you do it continually, there's a lot that you can do to cut it up and tell a story. And I think that's where it's at. You can tell a story of the evolution of your knowledge, the making of the book. And I think there's a lot that you can do. You mentioned your kid in there talking. You could do a whole mommy vlog on a mommy entrepreneur blog. That could be a piece of it. And all you do is take the bites of whenever your kid comes in and starts talking, and then go from there. There's a lot that you can do that I think you're already doing a lot. I think it's just a matter of taking a step back and thinking of how you can put something in to record it, document it, and then it's figuring out the process of, now that it's here, how do we get it out to the world? And then we can sit down, and I'd love to chat about that.
Sounds good. I like that idea.
Sweet. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the time, and would love for everyone to be able to see how they can find you. So all your handles, everything, what are all the websites? How can people find you?
The best way to find me is Instagram, and it's Janine, Janine, Hernandez with a Z at the end, _ And then my website is JanineHernandez.com. Those are my two easiest ways to find me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.